Okay, I have 10 o'clock. We will call the Harrison County Commission meeting for Wednesday, March 30th, 2022 to order. If you will rise, take care of this. And we will do the Lord's Prayer. Have the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioner Hinkle, are you on Zoom? I think I see you.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone here? There's no one signed.
There's no one signed up here for the record.
Is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak publicly? Anyone on Zoom wish to speak publicly? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to consent agenda. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved, please.
Motion to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 3, payroll change notices, A through D. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved, A through D.
Motion to approve payroll change notices A through D. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 4, minutes and or amended minutes of previous meeting. A, from March 16th, 2022. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved and adopt in the record.
Motion to approve and adopt into record number 4A. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Requisitions, purchase orders, invoices, as shown on vendor requisition list of payments A.
Madam President, I would like to pull off work order 38326 for BLR. That would change the total to 453,727.92.
Motion approved as stated by the county administrator.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I would like to remove invoice 38378 to Blue Gold Development in the amount of $96,849.00 due to the lack of a contract approved by the county commission.
Motion's been made to remove. State that. Can somebody you state that number, please?
38378 for Blue Gold Development in the amount of 96,849.00.
As stated by Commissioner
Due
Hinkle.
to the lack of a contract.
All in favor? Any discussion?
Yes, I haven't been able to find where this contract was ever brought before the commission to approve. This contract seems to be written by the contractor themselves, not on a contract by the county commission. I haven't been able to find anywhere where our staff, our legal staff, or our insurance company looked over this contract, and it is not a standard contract contract for Harrison County. Again, it is by the developer off of a internet site from 2013. It is not a valid contract, and we never approved this contract. That's all.
This is the contract that Thrasher brought forward when we awarded the bid to Blue Gold Construction. This is the contract that Thrasher had approved, since they were taking care of the whole bidding process and everything for us.
All in favor of Commissioner Hinkle's motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No. Okay, back to Commissioner Treecost motion to approve, with the exception of the one that the administrator mentioned. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
I have 10:06. Rocky, I believe you are at 10:05.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me this morning. Wanted to go over the request. We were in thinking about the move to the new building and everything that's going on in the assessor's office with the integrated assessment system that we're going through IS World. We're very hard with when we make the move, how we're going to handle everything to work. I came to a conclusion. I talked to Bryan, got a quote from new computers for all 37 stations. That way we would be able to put the new computers in the new building. We would be able to go over there, check everything out, and then the day we're ready to move, we walk in, we're ready to work. The IS World is, it's a lot going on for us. Right now, we would, we're looking at right now 4 or 5 computers that we need to replace very soon. And probably by the end of 22 into 23, we got 10 or 12 more that will go. And it's just thinking about it now. If the commission would help us out, do that, get the new computers in there, we feel very strongly that we'd be ready to go at it. I have conversations with Mark Music, who's the assessor in Mon County, and they moved from the first floor to the second floor and spent 4 months to get everything right. They struggled through just from a move up the street. We feel very strongly if we have the new computers in there, we can get in there, get started, and be ready to go. But the big concern is we've got computers, and if we do this, we'll struggle through with what we have right now and get that through, and then hopefully have all the new computers in the new building. And we feel like we could go over there, check everything out, be ready to go, and go from one building to the next and be working the next day. And we all know if the assessor's office and the tax office aren't working, we have total chaos in the building. So there's a quote there from Bryan. The first quote of $33,429.13. That's all computers. The second quote, the second there written in $43,048.39. That is including monitors, and most of our staff has 2 monitors. So that price actually includes 2 monitors, and I think it was $129 a piece. So that second price is with everything, the computers, monitors, everything ready to go. And then that way our guys can work with Bryan with IT, and also we probably have to bring GST in to get some of our stuff going, get ready for the move.
Is in those 37, does that include maybe the valve fund? Is that computers?
I wanted to talk to you all first. I haven't included anything that I was.
So this is 37.
Oh, yeah, the valve fund people, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
That's everything. Yeah.
Okay.
That's everything. I didn't understand what you're saying. Yeah, I haven't looked at any of that, but so show you the quote, see where we're at.
Well, yeah, I love this, but why didn't we discuss this as a budget time?
Pardon me?
Why wasn't this part of the budget? Why are we? Well, we're a week after the budget. Now we're talking about adding.
Well, when we had the original talk on the budget, then we had not really talked about it with Bryan. We got the quote afterwards, and quite frankly, we didn't have any more budget meetings. I mean, the one the other day, I didn't speak at it. that was one day out. We didn't have the other, except for the like pre-budget meeting. That was the only one I was approved in. And we hadn't started working on this at that point.
Is there a reason why this out of the 700,000 that was set aside for furniture and fixtures?
I think we need, I mean, I don't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. I think we need to look at everybody and look at the computers. This is another thing that probably should have been planned for.
Oh, I agree. I think
not just in your office and in the whole courthouse.
Yeah, I think with the county.
And I think we need to get with IT.
The county clerk's office,
and
tax office. I mean,
and they may have something in the works. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I think we need to sit down and discuss it with IT and the other officials and see
Yeah.
if we can figure something out.
Goes there.
I mean, do we necessarily have to have new monitors? I don't know.
Yeah, some of the monitors are like late 90s.
Yeah.
Some of our monitors are really good. You know, we've been able to get new computers and continue to use the monitors.
But David, that's a good thought.
Yeah,
I mean, I
it
think
really is.
I think that, yeah, that's been discussed.
Yeah, I
So-
think there's 150,000 left over from FF&E.
And from my conversations with the county clerk and the tax office, I think both of those are looking at, I think 15 or 16 new that they would need.
Because I know the ones that he has, I know need to be.
I mean, if they get the same systems that Brian's quoted for us, I mean, we can get everybody way into that.
I think it's worth a sit-down meeting.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Did you have anything else, David?
No, ma'am. I just, as we all know, the longer we wait, the longer it takes longer to get this stuff. So,
Sooner rather than later.
yes.
Thank you. Okay, number 6, exoneration, corrective tickets, joint property applications. I guess we just have exonerations as seen on Exhibit A.
That is correct.
What is the pleasure?
Interesting.
Motion to approve number 6, exonerations. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 7, consideration of approval of a project fund requisition for the payment of costs associated with the project to be financed from proceeds of the Series 2019 bonds issued for the Charles Point Economic Opportunity Development District Series 2021 A and B, Development District number 3, White Oaks Projects number 2, and Series 2008A, Charles Point Project number 2, Northland Bay Improvements. We have A and B requisitions. What's the pleasure?
Motion to approve and B.
Motion to approve number 7, A and B. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, number 8. It appears that we do not have any requisitions under 8. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, number 9, review, discuss Bridgeport PD notice of membership, Harrison and Taylor County 911 Advisory Board.
They needed to replace their past representative to the 911 Advisory Board. So they submitted this letter. I believe it went in front of the advisory board. They approved it. So then it comes to us for our final approval to appoint interim chief Mark Rogers to the 911 Advisory Board.
This is to the advisory board.
Yes, they send it to the advisory board. If the advisory board approves it, then it comes on to us.
Has the advisory board met and approved this?
I didn't think so because we just had a meeting last week and this was not.
This wasn't
It's
discussed
no,
at
it was
that
not.
meeting?
No, Steve was there too. So
Then let's table it and so it can go in front of the advisory board.
Motion to table as stated by the county administrator.
motion to table number 9 as stated by the county administrator. No, to answer your question, no, David.
Okay, then it's just basically an informational letter.
So we will table this until a later time. I mean, the motion has been made. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 10. Let's do 10:15. It's 10:15. Okay. We have at 10:15 Shannon, Cunningham, Snead, Central West Virginia Community Action, Inc. grant funds to assist Harrison County residents with hardship due to COVID. You're up.
Good morning.
Great. Just identify yourself for the record.
Sure. I'm Shannon Cunningham Snead, Executive Director with Central West Virginia Community Action. Thanks for having me. As you recall, quite a while ago, you applied for and received a community development block grant through CARES Act funding. Those funds are typically used across the state in West Virginia, in particular, on infrastructure projects. This was the first time that the state office opened it up for direct assistance to customers with housing needs, food needs, etc. So with that, you applied for and received and basically subcontracted with our agency to deliver the program. Just a little refresher on this, because only municipalities and county governments can apply for those funds. So I'll say we now received $75,000. At the time that that money was received, boy, has the world changed since the last 2 years. So a lot of other funding was released at the same time. So we specifically designated most of that funding for mortgage assistance. This was before we knew about the Mountaineer Rental Assistance Program and $200 million coming to the state of West Virginia. We also received Independent Community Services Block Grant funds for the same purpose, etc. The restrictions on these CDBG funds they're extremely intense. Just as an example, one customer that we assisted with a mortgage took over 2 months to process for communications with the bank, getting the correct approvals, etc. The documentation is just really intense. So with all of that, I will say we have spent very, very little money of that grant. Have customers been served? Absolutely, yes. They just haven't been served with this pot of funding because of the nature of the requirements of that funding and it just being so difficult to process. Our agency has leveraged over $650,000 in direct customer assistance for Harrison and Lewis County residents. So folks have been assisted and funding is still available. So I don't want you to think that this is just sort of sitting there and there are people waiting in the wings at the door that we're just not processing it. They are getting processed, just not with these funds. So with that, I've been in communication with the folks at the state office with West Virginia Community Advancement and Development. They are having trouble across the state with the 6 entities that have been granted these funds. Everyone's having the same issues. Nationally, everyone's having the same issues. And so they had no concerns on, you know, like us not doing a good job with the funds and the county looking bad or the agency looking bad. That's not their concern at all. So with that, we recommend that the county follow up with West Virginia CAD to officially invite them to reallocate $55 of the $75,000 for other projects that they have in the works. And that would include, this is their big pot of money, which also includes some infrastructure projects underway. What we don't want to have happen is statewide, those funds go back to Washington. So if they can be used on a different grant in a different area under their domain, we would like to be a good grantee as seen as not sitting on funds and allowing them to go unspent. So that's our recommendation. I will say CARES Act funding in general, because we have, again, a separate state grant coming out of that same federal pot. Our program officers had just come back from Washington when I met with them last week, and they said that nationally, some of that they're expecting about 50% to go back to Washington, and West Virginia is actually at a spending rate of 75%. So we're doing pretty good. We're meeting needs. So that's my recommendation to you. And we're very, very proud of the work that our staff has done and the outreach that's been done to make citizens aware. We've come up with a lot of hurdles, but we found other ways to meet customers' needs.
So is this something we work through with you? You can work together and bring it to us?
Then we'll have to put on the agenda for them to vote on to change the scope of work.
And again, what we're looking for.
Sorry. It's
Okay. So from West Virginia CAD's purposes, they can actually recapture the funds at any time. We want to be a good grantee and work with them in advance. That's all.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
We love technology in 2022, don't we?
But these guys are having fun back here too. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll get something.
Thank you, Michelle.
Did you have any questions, David? Okay, we will move on to, and thank you for coming to let us know. Number 10, review, discuss, consider ordinance modification request authorizing volunteer fire companies and paid fire companies to charge fees. Would you like to speak, Chief?
I would like to.
Okay. Identify yourself for the record, please, sir, even though you're just infamous.
Yes, my reputation has preceded me. My name is Steve Police. I'm the fire chief for the city of Clarksburg. My request today comes in 2002, the state legislative body adopted a code that allows for up to $1,500 to be billed to insurance companies in the mitigation of accidents and accident scenes. But that had to be modified or adopted at the county level before we could proceed. In 2003, Harrison County adopted that ordinance, but they set their limit not at the $1,500 cap. They set it at $500. Fast forward here to 2022. Basically, the cost of goods has went up. I don't believe any Harrison County agencies currently are participating in this. There are rather a large number of agencies in Marion County that do participate in this program. This program would be money that's billed to the insurance companies, not to the end user. We are in no way, shape, or form wanting to put any financial burden back on the accident victim. Obviously, they're in a situation where this is a big impact on their life anyway to be involved in an accident. We don't want to add any more financial burden to that. If we can recoup some of our service costs, mitigating this accident, it could be, as much as what we'd like to do is like a tiered effect, depending on what we have to do at that accident scene, whether we're there for hazardous materials mitigation, if it could be oil dry, disposing of the said product. But we'd like to see that raised to the $1,500 level so that we can kind of offset the expenses of some of our equipment. In 2003, when it was adopted by the county, Jaws of Life and some of these extrication tools and stuff we use only cost $10,000. Now they're $38,000. So replacing some of these things have now come to fruition where they're large capital purchases and not just things that we can budget for and prepare for in a way that kind of fits into the scope of things. This would give us what we hope for is a sustainable revenue stream that we can plan with fire equipment, cost of goods, and trying to fix a revenue stream. Radios, we all seem to be confronted with the same problem. Our radios that we bought for the county were bought in 2005 and 2006. Every county agency is in the same situation that we're in. Portable radio now costs retail about $7,000. So these things exponentially are adding up to problems where we put men in harm's way sometimes because we don't have enough radios to facilitate these things. And to purchase radios for an entire department, you're looking at $250,000 to $300,000. These are large capital outlays. So we thought this is money that we can earmark and set aside to be used for the fire departments, both paid and volunteer, in such a fashion where we can fix some of these capital issues. That's why we were asking for the rate increase. we would be more than willing to work within the $500 increase or the $500 set standard that we have currently. But if we have the $1,500 available to us, that would obviously be better. In the history of Clarksburg last year, we responded to 98 car accidents. If we were to bill each car agency insurance company for those accidents, it would have netted us about $49,000 at the $500 level. If we did that at the same $1,500 and we're able to recoup all, we're looking at 130 or 147,000. So you can see the difference in what we can buy as far as cost of goods. When bunker gear costs $2,500, $3,000 for a set. You know, these are things that would be greatly helpful to us as far as the replacement cost of equipment.
Get to all departments.
And
not only pay.
This is not specifically for the city of Clarksburg, obviously. This is just a sustainable revenue stream that all departments can utilize. I have some information that was given to me by a young lady from Pleasant Valley or Valley Fire Department in Marion County. Marion County does participate in this program, and their small department, obviously it's adjacent to I-79, and we know all the accidents that happen in that 132 to 139 area down there, but they reaped about $80,000 last year just in this same program in Marion County. So it's, you know, and they do the same thing. They do not back bill for any unpaid balances back to the individual. This is strictly at the insurance company level and does not go any further than that. So that's our request. We're hoping that maybe you would be willing to modify your ordinance to match the limit of the state level, which is $1,500.
I don't have a problem with doing that, that's for sure. But we have to look into to see what we need to do, what steps we have to go through to modify that. I think that's something.
I have a question.
Okay.
Why has the Clarksburg Fire Department not participated in getting the $500 since 2003?
It was not so much probably an administrative decision, David. I can't say anything on past administrative people. Obviously, in a time when we're looking at making some capital purchases for equipment, this is a revenue stream that we're trying to explore. And we are willing to participate in the $500 level. We were just hoping that if we could set the limit at $1,500, we wouldn't have to go back and modify our ordinance again later to include that increase.
Can the city of Clarksburg not pass its own ordinance?
We do not have an ordinance, no, sir.
Can you not pass one to take care of this?
We can pass one, but we can't exceed the 500 that the county has set.
It has to be done here first before the city can do anything. Correct. Is that correct?
Has anybody read our ordinance?
Yes.
Yes, sir. I have a copy of it.
Well, I have a copy too, and it says individuals, persons, or owners. It does not carve out insurance companies. So the property owner or other person responsible or liable for payment of such services. It doesn't say will be charged this fee to insurance companies.
I don't believe at this time, sir, that we have any intentions of passing this along to any individual. That was never our intent. Like I said, we have not written our ordinance.
We have written our ordinance, and that's what it says.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I don't think any fire department has presented their specifications for services rendered and show a rate for each service.
David, would you yield to the city manager?
Sure.
My name is Harry Falk, city manager for Clarksburg. This revenue stream was brought to my attention around August of 2020. We can craft an ordinance, and I'm sure it would pass through council. However, we could write the ordinance just to bill the insurance company. However, when we looked into it, we did approach the county commission at that time to look into it, to increasing the fee from $500 to $1,500. And then county commission did not move forward on that. So this ordinance kind of went to the wayside with the city of Clarksburg, just because, you know, it costs money and time to write a couple ordinances. So we're bringing it to your attention again, because during our budget talks, we're looking at our fire department. It's a $5 million operation, and our fire fees only bring in $2 million, or I'm sorry, $1.2 million. So we're looking at ways to increase fire fees in the next coming months, and also bringing in additional revenue. This is I believe it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win for all our volunteers that rely on donations and very little tax money to do their operations. I believe Anmore has this set up. And I don't know about Bridgeport or anybody else, but you know, we want to take the lead and ask for you to increase that fee from $500 to $1,500.
So we can make the motion to increase it to $1,500 to bill insurance only, pending legal approval. Is that fair?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Every time a bill's done, it has to be forwarded a copy of it to the clerk of the county commission. Okay, there's lots of things in this ordinance that I think we need to sit down and discuss with our volunteer fire departments. This just isn't a $1,500 change. It's also on how you're going to collect the $1,500. It's whether or not we're going to make everybody file with the clerk. And it's whether or not we can make these amendments based upon F-1-3B. Because I think it says you have to go after the individuals.
Were any other
responsible,
right liable for payment? Any other persons responsible? Would that be? Does that include the insurance? That's why I think this needs to be vetted by.
It doesn't.
The one that we have now is not kosher.
It's an individual. It's all for individuals. Nothing about insurance. This is why 2 years ago, when they brought this to us, the commission then voted it down that we did not want to get into something where a volunteer fire department could start lodging legal suits against people for failure to make payments. We supply the volunteers money. We supply the city of Clarksburg money. I just have a real issue allowing them to sue any fire department to collect this fee. And none of our volunteers have, if they're doing it, they've been doing it outside of the ordinance that we passed. Because I don't think anybody, Susan, anybody ever bring you a copy of the bills?
No.
Anybody ever bring
It doesn't.
what they're charging? No. So our ordinance has not been enforced.
That one. I think you have a valid point. I think he does have a valid point. I do. I mean, we need to determine what that paragraph means. I don't want us to do something and you do something that's not right. I think we need to take a look at this and see what it really says.
Okay, can we
get some opinion?
Let's resurface this.
Yeah.
Okay.
President,
yes.
Could we have a meeting set up with to get input from the
When's the next
fire chief of the volunteers and our attorney to look into this?
Yeah, that's what that was my intention.
Okay. Thank you.
My thoughts. I'm not saying intention. I mean,
Yeah, we agree.
I think we're all on the same page.
Thank
and
you.
I think you guys will understand. Yeah,
Thanks, Dave.
We'll get with the Chiefs Association and figure something. Is that fair enough, guys?
Absolutely.
So this will be, do we want to table this?
I think we need to send it to legal.
Okay. Is that okay with you, David, that we send it to legal and then we'll try to get with the Fire Chiefs Association?
Yes, ma'am. I think this is something, if we're going to do it, that needs some serious discussion to make sure that
We're doing
the
it right.
volunteers are happy, the cities are happy, and most importantly, the citizens aren't going to worry about finding themselves neighbor against neighbor because of one of these incidents.
Couldn't agree more. Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, number 11, administrators report.
I do not have anything to report today.
Okay, no, she doesn't have anything to report. So number 12, county or commissioners' comments. I do have something. And this is from last week. And I'm sure everybody knows what I'm talking about. And I'm going to try to do this and not get emotional and get across what I want to get across. I would like everyone to know, here I go already, that I, for one, would never entertain the idea of defunding the police and that of being against law enforcement. I'm going to get it together here, I promise you. And I think most of you know why. We had a budget to prepare and decisions to make. And I believe with the funds the commission allocated for cruisers and the rest of the sheriff's budget, that there were funds in the amount, more funds than he got last year. I'm going to spit this out in the amount of around $77,000. And this $77,000 does not include funds for body cameras, which I am willing to support that and would have supported it had we realized what was going on. Is that our bad or my bad? Probably, and I'm speaking for myself. There were suggestions made on Friday for considering options for funding his budget. And here again, I, for one, was listening and will consider this for the future. Please note, revisions can be made in the future, and we all know this. Maybe the public does not realize that budgets can be changed in the future. We have to jump through the hoops to do this, but it can be done, and I want to make sure the public is aware of that. And I will consider all those revisions. And additionally, we have one of the highest paid and one with the most deputies in the state. Period. The end. Thank you very much. Any, Mr. Treecost? Mr. Hinkle? Do you have any? Okay. Motion to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.